for him to be a successful broadcaster, he has, difficulties with that. Can you use your story to inspire that young one?
Wow. Once again, thank you. My first answer is going to be one word: grace. Whether you are Christian, you are Muslim, whatever you believe, my story is a clear and simple story of grace. And you will understand why. Let me give you 2 reasons. I'd never set foot in a radio studio in Ghana before I ended up at the BBC in London.
I see.
Let me say that again. I'd never seen the inside of a radio studio anywhere, especially in Ghana, before I found myself at the BBC. So when I'm saying grace, we say some of these things and it becomes cliche. But that statement alone will explain to you. Number 2, I never studied journalism before I ended up at the BBC presenting programs, Network Africa, and all that. I'd never set foot in a studio. I'd never studied journalism. In fact, in Legon, my subjects were statistics, mathematics, and computer science.
Way far from.
When I tell you grace, then from statistics, computer science, and mathematics to the BBC, where you are broadcasting to millions of people, you understand what I mean by God's grace. Then one key point, you mentioned any young person listening to me now, desiring to one day become somebody. When I was in Qatar Secondary School, my spoken English was very bad. I could write exams well, pass common entrance, pass things.
You could comprehend, but...
No, I could write the whole thing. But I'm coming from a village called Ohawu in the Volta region.
Ohawu?
Yes. There is an agri college there, which is similar to Kwaraso Agri College, similar to Nyankpala. So my written, I could pass exams. I will be top of my class. But if you ask me to speak English, the way we say it in Ewe or Ewe is I'll be breaking pots. My grammar will be all over the place. You will be laughing at me. In fact, I was teased in Kitasco for my bad and broken English. You make a mistake and they repeat it. They embarrass you to a certain point. So here is the hope I am offering. If somebody had come to Qatar Secondary School when I was in Form 1, Form 2, let's say a prophet comes to say, one of these days, in 5, 10, 15 years, all you students gathered here in these sands of Kitasco, one of you very soon is going to be broadcasting not just in Ghana but somewhere. I would tell you, Alpha, I would point to the people from Accra who spoken English I always admired. I would have discounted myself. So when I say grace, it is not one of these things we just say like a religious expression. So for a young man from the village who was bright enough to enter Qatar Secondary School but couldn't speak, his spoken English was poor, for that person to end up in a few years at the BBC in London, broadcasting to millions of people, then it has to be grace. But I don't want to take grace for granted. Did I work hard? I always worked hard. I knew in myself I wanted to succeed. I wanted to study hard. I wanted something I don't know. How can I learn this? If there are friends who know a subject better than me, how can I be friends with them? And if they are willing, they will teach me. It's not pride that I am learning something from you. And this is the other thing I would say. Your friends can make you or unmake you. You don't need many friends. And I'll give you an example. There is a man in Canada now called Bubu Kwajovia. He was always doing well in French. when we study French and then we do the exams, he will excel. So I said, Boo, how are you doing it? And he told me, whenever I go home, I take this French textbook called Pierre et Sédou. I memorize it. So I didn't know how to study. So because he taught me this, I would also go home and I would take the same thing and I'm memorizing the things, repeating them to myself. Before I realized, I was also scoring 90 or more.
Interesting.
Yeah, and he didn't mind. It wasn't a competition. Your friend who is generous enough to show you, if somebody here has built a hotel and it's your good friend, and you are planning that you too wants to build a hotel and they are kind to say, start this way. You need certain good friends like that. And biblically, I tell people that David, King David in the Bible, needed a Jonathan. You cannot be King David until you find your Jonathan. If you see many of our successful brothers and sisters here in Kumasi, Accra, or elsewhere, if any one of them tells you nobody has contributed to their success, I'm sorry to say, I think they are telling a lie.
Interesting.
And for the women, I would say that you can never be a Ruth until you find your Naomi. Okay. That means somebody who is just around you, helping you to succeed. One other friend, he is now a Bishop Innocent Wanya. Let me tell you what he did. And again, this is for the younger ones. Even how to make a tie around your neck.
Okay.
Yeah, it took
tie knots.
Yeah. It took friends in boarding school to teach me. There are some subjects, the teacher will come and teach. Some of us were slow to catch it. You will learn it better from your friend.
Yeah.
At the same time, let me caution. There are some friends who will introduce you to drugs.
Yes, they are.
And those are not the friends I am recommending. So Innocent Wanya, who is now a bishop with Perez Chapel, he was also doing very well in maths. You know, maths was a tough subject for all of us.
A lot of people.
Yes. So I went to Innocent. Innocent, what do I do? Because the teachers come and teach and go. You can't go to the teacher, teach me extra. So Innocent says, Ben, whenever we are going on long vacation, I go to the Kitasco library, I pick up a mathematics textbook. And I'm thinking, what are you going to do with it? He said, don't go for the British textbooks because they don't have answers at the back of the page. Go for the American mathematics books. They will ask you the question in the main book and there will be answers in the back. So take it when you go after farm work, you come to the primary school classroom, then calculate the thing, check the back and see if you are correct. I did the same thing. Suddenly, because of this good friend, I also improved in mathematics to the point where my mathematics improved to the university first year. So what I'm saying, number one, yes, God's grace, faith. Faith to tap into God's grace. Number two, you need to work hard. You cannot be lazy. I believe in hard work. These days, we add smart work. Some of us have smartphones, some things that we could not get easily before. If you get access to a computer, certain things our big brothers, our mothers could not reach. Certain education, we have it now.
Yeah, easily accessible.
Yeah. Don't go looking at funny videos and all that. Be focused on the next 1 hour. I'm going to learn this thing on YouTube and I will pass my exams well. So hard work plus smart work. And then, of course, I am mentioning that certain good friends can make you or unmake you. And then, of course, one last thing, be humble. If I watch Alpha Ali delivering something in a beautiful way, that is very nice. Even if I don't tell you, is there any way I can learn from the way you deliver, the way you pronounce something, the way you are speaking, so that when I leave Kumasi, I go somewhere, I can speak in a way that is clear, not to show off, but I can express myself well. Be humble to learn from others. So those are some of the things. Again, never set foot in a studio in Ghana and ended up at the BBC, Network Africa, Focus on Africa, and I was given opportunities to present a lot of programs. Again, the grace of God, but I never want to take the grace of God for granted.
So we'll continue with this amazing story of Mr. Ben Doche Malo. But for those of you who are seeking to reach his limit, he said that you need God's grace. Number one, you need to work hard. And he said that if you are a young man listening, you cannot be David without Jonathan. And if you are a young lady listening, you cannot be Ruth without Naomi. So you need good friends. And that you need to also be humble in your approach. Let's take these messages. When we return, I'll ask you, when your friends were mocking you because of your bad English, you decided to work hard to learn. But there was an interesting choice you made, because I know at the time GBC was broadcasting in Ghana, but then you chose to listen to Network Africa on the BBC. So I'll ask you, how did you realize that, okay, let me choose? I'll ask you that after these messages. Stay with me.
Okay.
A bank that supports you.
Middle. Aden wa bosasa, Adam afuwana.
Enye wu, adwin.
Na same ye wo jire. Bibi hawa ene menkasa.
Na me mpese me how, but adwuma no kwa na ekofom. Senke menya bisi ampode.
Oh, odo. Na sase mo de sese kwa ka kye me dadada. Hwe bra kwa me say. Sa na Consolidated Bank Ghana, CBG, aboa no.
Na me ninsi ho anagina mu bia o.
Oh, odo, mama no nsie. Consolidated Bank besia de. Wonyinsi ho anagina mu bia o.
My worry all bathroom.
Oh, odo yi. Wajuma hiya mwa sika fem. Science at CBG. Yes, see, we stand with you, T. Yes, bra. Ya brabata bru duna en bebia. My yamma wajuma besia. Ebe kwa wajuma managina ne nine so. Na ye sika collect ne so. Ya juma ifo beti mi aba wajuma mu abeje o check and o deposit bia. 80 freya home so. 030-221-6000. CBG.
We stand with you.
So the essence of my praise is centered on your grace.
My name is Diana Hamilton, VGMA Artist of the Year 2021 and brand ambassador of Awake Purified Drinking Water. I am super excited to partner with Ghana's first charity-driven water to give back to our communities. Awake is a brand that makes a difference. We impact the world around us. That is why for every bottle of Awake water you buy, an amount is donated to the National Cardiothoracic Center. Yes, every time you quench your thirst with a refreshing bottle of Awake, you're helping contribute to save lives. So keep drinking Awake Purified Drinking Water and let's continue making a difference. Awake Water, one for life, supporting the National Cardiothoracic Center. This advert is FDA approved.
Media Sambisanda Moa. It's your Rotino, Moo and Panet, Mufino, Podompe, Maniacono. Eh, Quabna. No Moo wants to be just my memory in that day. And the crew, corporate moving on Podompe, so you supersident Eba. I had a binding the Braille, who see in a mobile, some man awarding it. Sir, I need now could you soon use supersident Chaco, Nenry dear, a mouse, and we are cringing fit of that. No, what you ask you, my mother feel you. Kojo, sir. Yeah. President Eba and a President Chaco. A idea. You're gonna natural.
FTIJ Trading Katuyatu.
So it's 17 after 8. We are having a conversation with Mr. Ben Doche Malo, Chief Editor, UN News, Chief UN Radio, and former Communications Director and Presidential Spokesman for former President John Dramani Mahama. Let me remind you that we are streaming live on YouTube, and so you can watch the conversation live on YouTube. The YouTube page is Orange 107.9 FM. If you have any question for our guest this morning, send in those questions, and of course we'll be asking him on your behalf. You can either send me the question on WhatsApp 0548 501584, 0548 501584. You can push the comment when you go onto YouTube to watch the conversation live. So, Mr. Malo, you were mocked, and I'm sure you were sad and encourage at the same time to work on that proficiency challenge in English. But you chose a very interesting path. You chose to listen to Network Africa on BBC. Was it by chance, or it was planned that, okay, if I want to better my English, let me listen to the best. Let me go international.
Two things happened to improve the English I'm speaking with you now. First of all, you will leave Keta to my village, Ohabu, where I tell you we have the Greek college, just like Nyankpala and Kwada. So we also have a crop research institute there. We also have a state farm. When you go back on vacation, my widowed mom would be farming my dad's land. So you go to the farm, you come back in the evening, you are out of touch with all these other students from all over the country you've been with. And I had a bigger brother called Koshi Apetse. He had a radio. This transistor radio that you put the batteries in.
I see. Some of us have.
No, you people, you are BBC, born before computers. That's the other phrase.
Yes.
So this brother called Apetse, I will go, again, a little bit of kindness. To buy the batteries and use them was money.
Okay.
So when you go to your big brother and say, can I borrow your, it's not an easy thing. So I will go get the radio from him. This is the radio where when the battery dies, you put it in the sun.
Okay.
Some of you, Alpha, we need to take you back. You put it in the sun to warm it, then it sort of recharges and you use it. So you go to your big brother, you say, let me borrow, and then you start fiddling with short wave. This FM we are having now, it was a dream unimaginable to people in those days. So you go to him, you take the radio, you're fiddling with stations to catch GBC in the Volta region. GBC had become so poor, you couldn't get GBC.
Oh, okay.
So you're fiddling, you're just trying so that you can stay in touch. Next thing you hear, there was a strong station coming from Libreville, Gabon, called Africa Numero 1. And they would play music, Congolese music. But music, you can only listen to music that much. So you're fiddling with the dial. Suddenly you hear this guy on this very good station, shortwave. And he's speaking English flawlessly. And then he pronounces a Ghanaian name. Let's say it's Asante Hene. Nana will say Tutu. Then the guys, the English is very, very pure. And then he's pronouncing an African name very clear. If it's a name like Kuntunkununku, then he gets it right. So you are stuck there, only to find out this was Network Africa from the BBC in London. And this guy who was speaking then was called Hilton File. Many of our older brothers and sisters, he was a Sierra Leonean, excellent English, like the kind of English you hear Komla Dumont express. It's me, my village accent is still there. My Kitasco accent is still there, even though it's clear enough to broadcast to. So Hilton File was excellent. And he would play like a Ghanaian music, Nigerian music. And as a Pan-Africanist, I also got drawn there. So the more I listened, my English started improving. And then one last thing. I finished Form 5 in Keta Secondary School, where my spoken English wasn't too good. I chose to leave Keta to Ho, and in Ho Mauli School, spoken English was easier to pick up. So my English, apart from listening to the BBC anytime, my English got improved in a new environment. That's why sometimes, I don't know if somebody leaves Prempeh College to go to Opokuwari, or maybe the enmity is too serious. They don't mix. But as I went to Mauli School, again, that environment helped my English to improve, and I became better and better at spoken English. One last thing. Listening to the BBC, they had a portion, like you right now, asking people to send their comments and questions.
Yes.
So there was a part of the BBC Network Africa program called Talk Back. Listeners from all over Africa, you go and buy airmail letter from the post office. I'm sorry, some of you, the younger ones, you are not going to. We need to go and find those things and put it on YouTube for you to see. You go to the post office, you buy airmail, then you also write. Like somebody listening to you now said, oh, I heard this thing that you said, the 4 points that you listed, that humility, God's grace, hard work, but maybe you should have added determination, perseverance.
Okay.
So I will write this thing from Ghana, go and post it.
I see.
It costs a little bit of money. And then you send this. Then after 2 weeks, you're listening to the BBC in your village, and they are reading your comment from London.
Interesting.
And then you are in your village. Oh, you mean this little idea I put across? Somebody thinks I'm also making a point. You feel a sense of validation. You feel encouraged. You feel inspired, and you write more. And when you send the letter to the BBC, they will post back to you either a BBC pen or a BBC T-shirt or a BBC poster you put in your room. And sometimes I'll be wearing the T-shirt, moving around. Then you be guy now. So those little things, every source of inspiration, you pick it up.
I see. Now, it'll be interesting to also find out, because you mentioned the person that you were listening to on Network Africa, Mr. File. Hilton File.
Hilton File. Yes.
How was the feeling when you eventually were in the United Kingdom and then got to see him and some other persons at the BBC, even before you got to do a professional journalistic job? How was the feeling like to meet someone that you've been listening and admiring and imagining, to see him and some other persons at the BBC?
It's like you, Alpha, somebody seeing you somewhere and said, oh, you are the guy I've been listening to. And sometimes you are just here to serve. You're not just here to say, look at me, I'm the best guy on radio. So, by the way, I got a scholarship from the University of Ghana to go do my master's in Glasgow University in Scotland. So on the way, as I got to London, I said, oh, let me visit this BBC place I've been sending letters to. And I go there, I call them, and then I went to the wrong place, eventually ended up in Bush House, where the BBC World Service was located. And it was amazing the way I was received. One particular lady, a white lady, called Jenny Horrocks, we've become very good friends. She came down, like right now somebody is coming to your station, somebody must meet them and allow them in. She was the one who came and received me, signed me in, and she said, oh, so you are the guy who is always writing letters to us.
She knew about it.
They knew my name because whenever she was the one who used to post the pens and the posters and the papers. And the reception is the first time you as a Ghanaian, you've ended up in this, and they are receiving you like family with respect, and you are just so humbled. Then you meet Hilton File, you meet everybody. It's not these days that you have a phone, you can take pictures with them. And then eventually, I finished my master's in Glasgow. They say, come to the BBC. When you go back to Legon, maybe once in a while you can do some correspondence work for us. They gave me 2 weeks. But I suppose I was working too hard, praying too hard, being too loud. The 2 weeks became 3 months. And they will give you something as you and your colleagues are here. And then you come and read something, maybe you make a commentary. And at the end of the day, they said, oh, here is £45. I said, what? Yeah, the BBC, you come and you do work, they have to pay you.
Paid.
Yeah, I was just happy to be there making some noise. This guy who couldn't speak English in Kitasco, this guy is here at the BBC, is more than enough for me. Then they give you money. And so I was working hard. If somebody is sick, they said, oh, can somebody step in? It's like my hand is already up before they asked for it. I was eager. I was enthusiastic. And they, again, by the grace of God, I had Neil Curry, who was one of the editors. He's now like a brother to me. He would guide you. He would say, oh, that thing you said, come and say it this way. And I can actually talk about one big lesson he taught me about feedback. Wow. But feedback is critical in whatever field you are. Feedback. Neil Curry taught me how you can criticize somebody's work viciously, and they will not be depressed, but they will take that as bitter medicine and then improve. So I met all these people and became nice. 3 months, then they asked me, would you like to fill these personnel forms? We want to regularize your stay. And then I'm saying, no. The people who send me from Legon with Ghana money, they are listening to the BBC. Yes, my conscience won't allow me.
I see.
Long and short of it, I stayed 9 months. They wanted to keep me. I said, no, I got to go back to Ghana. As a Christian, I need my conscience to be clear. And sometimes the professors in Legon, Professor Akila Pasoya, Mr. Ghana Banga, they will hear and send me a note. Ben, we heard you this morning.
Okay.
You're doing very well. But when are you coming back?
They're expecting you.
Yes.
They've invested in
So
you.
after 9 months, I came back to Legon. And then when I came back to Legon, one day I was there, the BBC said, oh, you know the forms you filled? Here is a work permit. Here is a visa. Go to the British High Commission. And here is an employment letter. If you like, come and work with us. June 1991. I think it was a Friday, June the 12th. So that's how I left fully back now to London to go and start a broadcasting
Now
career.
let's talk about your first journalistic work. For you as a young one, having done, maybe we can call it internship, so to speak, with the BBC for a couple of months, or is it weeks, for you to be tasked to report on the under-16 football tournament without any formal training in journalism, and just like you said in your initial submission, without visiting any radio station, what lessons did you implement in that report? What made you succeed? Because at that time you had no formal training. You were asked to do it, and you did it, and they were convinced. So how did you, or what did you implement in that process?
Brother Alpha, I am like a young woman here in Kumasi, a young man here in Kumasi, listening to you every morning with your team. The way you go about these things, you just absorb it. So first of all, Ni Odate Lamte, the Ghanaian footballer, when they were 16, Yao Preko and a few others, Glasgow, where I was in university, was hosting this World FIFA under 17 or under 16. So they came there playing in Glasgow. The BBC decided, instead of sending one of their staff members to come and cover, they said, oh, you remember this enthusiastic guy who passed through our studio and going to Glasgow University? Maybe we can't send somebody. Let him watch the games. When he finishes watching, we will just interview him, or we will ask him. So we will go to the stadium, I will watch some of the games, and then they will call me in the evening on the phone. Ben, are you ready? We are recording you. Then they will either do an interview. How did the match go? Who played well? Who did this? And all the things I used to hear, let's say from Alpha Ali, I am trying to apply the same as I used to listen to Godwin Avenogbo on GBC, or Charlie Sam on GBC, or Tommy Annan Folsom. Then I'm not copying them, but I am just, the way I used to hear them, I'm trying to deliver like that. And the guys in the BBC will be patient. Sometimes they will say, Ben, can you on one page describe everything that happened? So I am there, I'm doing my work in the Glasgow University in Scotland, and the BBC is calling me from London. And by the way, geography-wise, London is like south in Accra, and Glasgow is like Tamale. So if you look at the geography of the United Kingdom. So they would say, well, today we will not do an interview. You just sit down, describe what happened, who scored in what minute, what. So I am learning on the spot. Then I will write these things, then they will call me back and say, Ben, we are recording, go ahead. Then I'm reading this like Tommy Annan Folsom, I'm reading it like Alpha Ali, I'm reading it like Charlie Sam. Then they will send this, then the next thing, they are broadcasting it a part of their programs in London. So that is how, and then they were happy with this thing. If I visited London, then they said, oh, you did a great job. And then every little praise, you get boosted, you get encouraged, you get inspired to do better. And that is why I believe, apart from feedback, I believe in continuous improvement. If somebody praises you, Alpha, I want to see you take that praise, not to sit back and say, don't you know who I am? But you keep, no, you keep improving, eh?
Yeah.
You just determine in your mind, you say, oh, thank you.
Okay.
And you have one or two brothers who are looking out for you, or sisters, they're telling you, Alpha, you know, if you do it this way, it will be better. That's feedback. Before we realize, Alpha, somebody from London is visiting here, staying at Frederick's Lodge. They are in the car listening, and they are listening to this guy. They say, look, this guy is so nice, so good. Can we try him in Germany? Can we try him in London? You never know. So those are some of the things. When I say grace, God's grace, there are some things you cannot work for.
I see.
You need to work. We need to work hard.
Great. Life will not come without challenges. And I'm sure, as human as you are, you also faced set of challenges at the BBC. You worked with the BBC for a decade, right?
12 years.
12 years, more than a decade. Now, you wanted to apply to become the deputy editor for...
You guys have been digging stuff on me.
Focus on Africa.
Yes.
And then you failed.
Yes.
You were affected massively.
Yeah.
Why so? Why that?
I applied for promotion and I was rejected. I applied believing I am one of the most hardworking people in the office.
Okay.
Not to take anything away from my other colleagues. I believe that I got on well with people. I go to work with a complete Christ mindset. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Love your neighbor as yourself. So even I'm in a professional environment, no matter what the provocation, I try to live my Christian life in that professional environment. I don't want to make enemies. I'm not afraid of making enemies. I want to work hard, love everybody, and do well. So I felt I could be the deputy editor. But when we applied, first they said it is temporary for 6 months. So 6 of us applied. When 6 of us applied to be, it's like you, Alpha, you applied to become what? I don't know what your title is now.
Maybe you want to become the news editor or programs manager or...
And you've been a producer, you've been doing good reports against Galamsey.
Yes.
That Santehene loves to give you interviews. So you think you deserve to go to go there.
Yes.
And then 6 of us applied. They didn't choose one person. They took a decision which I call by Solomonic wisdom. You know, Solomon decided we will split the baby in half.
Sure.
So 3 of us were rejected, 3 people were accepted.
I see.
And they told the 3 people that for the 6 months that we are doing this temporary thing, each of you will take 2 months and be acting deputy editor.
Interesting.
So they went for it. And guess where your brother who is here, he was among the rejects. So you just go home and you are saying, Lord, and I was active in my church, Elim Pentecostal Church in London. I was leading praise and worship there. You mean I am not even good enough? Not to be close to the top person, but among the top 3.
You were
it's
easily
like,
rejected. Like
there is no hope.
So you felt you weren't good enough or something?
No, you started wondering what future is here for me.
Oh,
I had
because
done
you needed
masters
to
in
progress.
IT. Yes. And you are working hard. You're doing everything. You don't fall sick and call in. You don't misbehave. You are doing well. You try to get everybody on board. So you go back home and you are thinking, I am not good enough to be among the top 3. So if I stay here working, what
I'll just be
future
doing-
is? Yeah. So it was a down moment. But one thing I did, I stayed close to God. I prayed. I fasted. I prepared. Because after 6 months, they now say the job is now open for permanent basis. So the temporary period has passed. And this your raggedy village boy from Ohabu with faith in God and counting on grace, who had been rejected 6 months before, decided, even though I was rejected before, I will fast, I will pray, but I'm not leaving everything to God. I'm going to prepare.
I see.
And I would go again.
But didn't you feel, because the experience you had with the rejection, didn't it occur to you that what if I go the second time and I'm rejected again and I have to go through possibly much more intense experience than I did? Didn't that
Are you
occur-
a psychologist?
I'm not.
Because you are asking the right questions. In fact, sometimes you would think about this. You said, oh, I've just been wounded with this rejection.
Yeah.
If I go, I will be wounded again. But I think all the successful people you see here in Kumasi and in Ghana, hardworking, they will tell you they failed at something. But once it was the right thing, they went again. So I think we need to teach ourselves. Many of us are coming from poor backgrounds, and our parents will tell us, don't go and fail. All the money we have, we are sending you to Prempe.
that's
You
the
can't
last
afford.
hope.
You can't afford to fail. What we need to learn is failure is part of the journey to success. Failure, in fact, one thing you need to know without a prophet telling you in this life, if you are going to amount to something, you are going to fail at one point or the other. And failure is not the problem. Comlan Dumont says, failure is not fatal, failure is not final, unless and until you make it so. And then other people will say, fall down 7, rise 8, which means fail 7 times, but keep coming back. So for me, I pray for anybody listening to us, to myself, that even when I fail, God, give me the strength to dust myself, to encourage myself in the Lord and try again. I failed at this exam, but I believe I can do it. Give me the strength to go and study again. Show me the way to master this thing and come back again. Long and short of it is, your brother here joined the 3 people who had already, you can see that in the queue.
You were
Why are you laughing? You are back of the queue.
Yeah.
And one of my friends and brothers, I call him, he's Neil Curry, he's an editor.
Okay.
He groomed me a lot. So he also felt I stood a chance. So let me tell you something that he told me. He said, Ben, when you go to the interview, I have been to Ghana. He's a white guy.
Okay.
I've been to Ghana, I've been to Nigeria. In fact, his daughter is a medical doctor now.
Great.
If she sees me on the streets of London, she will come screaming, Uncle Ben. And you'll be wondering, white girl screaming and embracing this guy, you won't understand. Neil sat me down. He said, Ben, I know in Ghana, you don't look people in the eye. Over here, when you don't look people in the eye when you're talking to them, it means you are not truthful.
Oh, okay.
This is a cultural
Very
thing.
important
If I go to the Asante Hene now, I will be careful not to make eye contact.
Yeah.
It's respect, you keep your head down. But among the Western people, if you are talking to somebody, you can't make eye contact. Indirectly, they are telling, and this is for any brother or sister listening to me, when you go to London or America, learn how to make eye contact.
Maybe when you are going to seek for visa. Very important. Make eye contact.
Udi visa Asamaba. So he sat me down. Said, Ben, when you go, make eye contact. Don't stare at them. Make eye contact. Make your point. If you have to shift your eye, but don't avoid eye contact. As you and I are talking now, I have had to learn to look you in the eye. Number 2, he said, Ben, when you go, sit properly. Don't sit in a... I'm talking about going for an interview. When you go for an interview, make eye contact, be confident, don't let your body language show like, oh, I'm a little mouse. Yeah. And he will practically, I will do like this. He said, Ben, you've gone down. No, he took me through these things. And then for this process to recruit, there were 2 white men and white woman on the panel. We had 3 different tests. One was a psychometric test to see if you have the ability for leadership. One was a written test you had to go through. And the final one was the interview. And already, he that is down need fear no fall. Oh, I've been rejected once. What is the worst that can happen?
So,
they can reject me again.
Yeah.
But I am not going this time without solid preparation. So I prepared, I went through all the 3 things. My brother, I was called in the evening, the same day, by the head of Africa. Ben, are you okay? I said, yes, I just got home. I'm taking off my jacket. He said, I wanted to tell you something. So at that point, you don't know what Barry language is going to tell you is that, I'm sorry we didn't, or he said, Ben, you've got the job. Then he went on and said, but don't tell anybody yet because I want to contact all the other people who didn't get the job and apologize to them. And tomorrow when you come to work, we will make it official. So I said, sir, thank you very much. He said, we love your energy. We love your enthusiasm.
Did you cry?
No. I was speechless for a while. And so I say, thank you, Barry. I will do my best. I will work hard. He said, we know you work hard already. But we love your energy. We love your enthusiasm. We love the things you can bring on board. You will bring everybody together. So he put the phone down. And I went down on my knees. And I think I was confused. I wanted to be sure I heard him right. No. For God to take you from the back of the line and take you past one person, take you past two people, take you past three people, 4, 5, and put you at the front of the queue. I knew I worked hard. But I told people, even if God has shifted me from the back, just 1 point, I will say I'm no more last. I will still be thankful.
Sure.
I will still be thankful that, I am
made
not,
some progress.
I'm not carrying the class from the back. I will still be grateful. And I sincerely mean it. But God took me from the back of the line to the front. And I say this to any brother, any sister listening, you will face challenges. You want to build a house, something happened, they took the land or something, go back to God. Don't run away from God. I tell people, I'm like a little child. I will go and hold God's 2 feet and say, Lord, why? I'm trying. Why have you let me down? So you will do these things, go back to God. But don't leave everything to God. God has given you a brain. God will tell you, contact this person, do this, and go again. For me, it's a question of you failed. You are not a failure. The fact that you have failed at something does not make you a failure.
Great.
Just come back, collect yourself. You know a brother or sister who probably has gone through the same path. Go and say, what did you do? I have failed. Failing is not a source of shame, especially when you've worked hard, you've done your best.
Yeah.
It's just because maybe you haven't studied something right. So a life lesson for me is failure should not make us ashamed. We are coming from homes where failure is not tolerated because the money the family has saved for 10 years, they are sending you to Opokuwari. And then you go to Opokuwari and you fail. It's like, so many of us try to succeed all the time, but sometimes we will fail.
Sure.
Even when you fail, bounce back.
Let me spend some time to read some of the messages that you've sent in, and then I think we'll be wrapping up with 2 issues. There's another challenge.
I'm sorry I need to Mipamunche Bebre. That is all the tree I can speak. My nephews here, Larry Badu, they speak Manchia tree.
Yes.
Me, I speak Kitasko tree.
Sure.
So you have to be.
Oh no!
I just want to say I have a weakness for talking.
It's okay.
Because the BBC used to pay me to talk. I don't know how much you are paying me for all this talk. So if I have spoken too much, forgive me.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, we are learning a lot, and people are inspired by your story so far. This one says, Alpha Ali, I wish I could leave my court to meet Uncle Ben Duchimalo. He is a great man. He's a great inspiration. Our father used to force us to listen to BBC and GBC from late 80s. So some of us knew Ben Duchimalo long before he worked for government. Great listening to Ben Duchimalo. Festus Fovi Nkunu sent this one. Fuga Nkunu's twin brother at Old Tafo Circuit Court. You know him?
He's an old Kitaskan. His brother is a top teacher in Kitasco.
Oh, okay.
And they prepare these science, national science and maths quiz people.
Okay.
They are twins.
Sure.
And because I came after twins, traditionally they are my big brothers. I have to show them respect.
Sure. He's listening to you this
Wonderful.
morning. He's in court, but he wanted to come and meet you, but I'm not too sure he can do so. Now, this one said, listening to the man carefully, I know the grace of God is there, but I also think he put in enough effort to be where he was. Passion, together, and the law of the universe located him. Hashtag hard work pays. Tony from Kotokrum.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Tony, for your message. This one says that good morning to Ben Doche Malo. Grace Staffo sent in this one. You can keep sending your messages, and do not forget that we are also streaming live on Facebook. We have a few minutes to wrap up our conversation, but there's another thing, that another success you chalked that we can talk about. Maybe later we'll talk about that, how you got to work with UN based on a recommendation by a colleague. It's quite interesting that in the first place you were hesitant.
No.
In going for that.
Yes.
But possibly we'll come to that. But let's talk about another serious challenge for you.
Okay.
Because a lot of persons who have done journalism sometimes veer into politics. The person you replaced at the BBC, Madam Elizabeth Ohene, left to join politics in Ghana to serve as the information minister. At a point, he also did, to, just like we've said, to serve as the spokesperson of the former president.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, they say you had difficulties because there were people internally who felt that first to an alien, you were an outsider, so to speak, and that they have worked tirelessly to bring the party in power, and some of you guys were just there to chop, just like we say in Ghanaian terms.
Yeah.
What stark challenge did you notice serving in that position in government, being in the hairy belly of politics?
Sister Elizabeth Ohene was a big sister to me when I was at the BBC. I have photos I took. She was more established, number one. Number two, public service. President Mahama reached out to me. I didn't lobby, I didn't seek, I didn't go. He said, Ben, I think you can come and help. And I was at the UN. I am a born-again Christian who believes in sacrificial service. I am somebody who believes Kwame Nkrumah meant so well for all of us, and if he had succeeded without enemies blocking him, Ghana would have been where Singapore, Malaysia, or Korea is right now. I like the fact that Nkrumah gave his all. Nkrumah does not own any properties in Kumasi, Accra, or the Western region. He built schools, he built the dam. I like the fact that he gave his life. And when you are abroad, Alpha, in London, when you see a pavement, there is no gutter, you're thinking, how can we get this in Kumasi and Accra? When I go to a nice park in, let's say, New York, and I'm just walking and it's all trim and green and nice, I'm saying, Kumasi gets a lot of rain, Garden City. It's like if I could carry this like a phone from that place and come and just plant in Kumasi, that is what I would do. When you see a nice building in New York, you are desiring that. So when President Mahama asked me, it's not even about party. It's about Ghana built me, Ghana helped me, Ghana gave me a scholarship. Can I come and serve? It is not, in fact, when I came, I could get a V8 vehicle to use, but I declined. I got a Toyota Corolla.
Okay, Toyota Corolla.
I think that was, is it Toyota? One of the Toyota cars, small cars. I felt from my house to the presidency, and I've lived abroad. I've got cars abroad, thank God. I don't need a V8 in Accra, so I even wanted to drive myself. They said, no, everybody in your district must get a driver.
Okay.
And I saw that it was necessary because sometimes when I'm driving, radio stations are calling for me. So it became necessary for this guy called Max to be driving me. But I use a small. So coming to serve was not about coming to chop. If anything, I want to give back. If you give me the basic salary, I don't want to leave the presidency and you hear that I own 10 properties in Kumasi, in Angloga or Oforikrum, where my senior brother used to live, or I bought this property. It's not about money. Because I believe when you focus on money, you cannot do the kind of things Kwame Nkrumah did. So I came to serve. But it's a fact. This is one big lesson. I did not regret it. It's a fact that you will face challenges. You can mean well, Alpha. You can be the person who will solve all the problems of Kumasi and make Kumasi the place every Ghanaian wants to come to. Meaning well is not enough.
I see.
Having the qualifications to deliver well is not enough. If you do things in a certain way that doesn't go with the traditions of Asantema, that alone can cost you the good deeds you are here to do. So when you have good ideas, even how you, sometimes raising your left hand in class, you are the brightest person, but raising your left hand, some teachers say you cannot raise your left hand. You have the answer, but you are using your right hand is writing with the pen and you lifted your left hand, they will say, no, you are disqualified. So you can mean well, but meaning well is not enough. You're going to face challenges. People you expect.
What challenges did you face? Were the people sabotaging you? Was the work too difficult for you?
I think you should talk to President Mahama, former President Mahama, that when you mean well, you want to stop corruption, you want to stop bad things, some people you expect to support you in that scheme will come attacking you. Right now, the Office of the Special Prosecutor is trying to do the things that will make us a clean, decent, hardworking people. He's facing challenges. People are so it is common in the culture.
To block things.
Yeah, there were blockages. There were people digging holes
and
under
the people
you.
internally rebelled.
Somebody somehow is threatened by you. Even though you haven't said anything against them, you haven't taken their money, you are not taking, or somebody feels that if you are doing this thing and it's working well with the president, then something is going to, I'm going to miss something. These things people tell you, I didn't believe it because you and I do not think like that. If Alpha is doing well, even if he's being praised, but Alpha he doesn't care. He said, well, Ben, let's come and do this together. I told somebody when I was at the presidency that even if waking up at 3 a.m., to sweep the Flagstaff House, 3 a.m., nobody sees me. And by doing that, investors will come. That will bring investors. I will do it quietly. By the time people come in, I was ready to do it. So we need to sacrifice. We need leaders who are competent, sacrificial, who are selfless. Leaders who are saying, yes, it will be good for me to get money, but I've got my house or 2 houses with 2 cars. I don't need to steal government money. I don't need to sell Ghana short. We need leaders who will sacrifice. And if you want to make money like Dangote, make money like Ibrahim Mahama, make money like some of the big Ashanti businessmen who have built houses and done but don't go into a public office and use corrupt means to deny all of us, to deny a clinic in a Sokore or a clinic in a Jisu or a good school. No.
Finally on that, eventually you realize that, well, I've had enough. I'm checking out. I'm resigning. What broke the camel's back that made you think, okay, this is it, I'm going?
Alpha Ali, put yourself in my shoes. You are capable of doing 100%. But you realize that you are only limited to 10 or 15%. And you are used to enjoying the work, the results. You are not there because they will give you some money and you hold a title. So it got to a point, it was reluctant because I could see the president needed help. Do you understand? And it was best. And then you have 1 or 2 senior brothers or sisters who pick up all the things that you are being subjected to. You don't go talking to them. They pick them up and then they call you, then they advise you. And these senior brothers have gone through worse things. I have to also give credit to Professor Raymond Atuguba.
Yes, because you served under him. As he
was executive secretary. He's become like a brother to me.
You guys resigned, I think, at the same
together.
time also.
Because if somebody is good, he means well. He just wants the nation to succeed. This is a Harvard-trained professor, and he's bringing his services. He wasn't there to steal money. He just let's succeed as a nation, north to south, everywhere. So you need people like that around you, and then you have senior brothers praying for you, giving you advice. Do this to succeed, not to undermine anybody.
You've served closely with the former president.
Yeah.
How would you describe him?
Wonderful man.
Some say he's too soft. He's not.
When should too soft be a weakness? When should somebody tell you he's too honest? He's too tolerant? People tell me, oh Ben, you are too clean. You can't do politics. Then who should do the politics and help lift all of us up? Mahama was not vicious. I've never seen the guy go after somebody in a vindictive manner. Yes, there were times we used the phrase, crack the whip. But the guy is very knowledgeable. The guy keeps a lot of things. If you look at him, you will underestimate him. He's a very, very bright and sharp man. But just the fact that he hasn't got wickedness. So people say, well, a leader must have some wickedness in him. Right? But I look at Barack Obama, who succeeded as the first black president of the US. Obama didn't go doing some terribly nasty things. So to me, John Mahama is a proper Ghanaian, full Ghanaian. He will tell you, in my family, I have Christians, I have Muslims, I have people from the Volta region, I have people from the north, I have Ashantis. He's a good friend to the Asante Hini. He cuts across. So you can't go to him with things that are tribalistic or things that say, oh, let's only build this part of the country and leave the other. He's connected to so many of us.
We'll have to end the conversation, unfortunately.
I'm sorry I talked too much.
Because our time is almost up. But this one said, oh, Alpha, I missed this voice of Ben when he was at the BBC. He also makes me miss voices on GBC like Godwin Avenogbo, Charlie Sam, James Amate,
yes,
Kwame V. Amepo, Kwame
V. Ameko.
Yeah, Chakponu. And
yeah, Kofi Chakponu.
And unforcing Richard Kuti.
Yeah.
You are
no, one day somebody's going to say, I miss Alpha Ali.
Sure. Greetings to Ben. And we are proud of him from BY Interpa. Oh, BY is an old one, relatively. This one says that, please, before Uncle Ben leaves, ask him if he was in Commonwealth Hall at Legon Hall. Have a great stay in Kumasi.
I was in Mensa Saba Annex B, which was called Oponglo. And they were so noisy, they were seen as allies to Commonwealth Hall.
I see. This one said, I tuned in late, but it was worth listening. God bless him for blessing us with wisdom this morning. That came through from Jerry. There's some comments on YouTube. This one says that, please, this is his Hannah Festus Fovi Nkunu. Foga, Nkunu's twin brother, Nkunu's uncle. Yeah. So he's a judge.
Yeah. No, I think he's in court. You mentioned him a moment ago.
Yes.
He's an old Kitaskan.
Okay. Yes. This one said, I'm inspired by Uncle Ben's speech. Kudos to him. It's a minute past the hour 9. You're still listening to the Orange Sunrise in Orange 107.9 FM. We'll have to wrap up the conversation. It's been a very interesting conversation so far. But I just want to ask, a lot of people have fond memory of Kwamla Domo.
Yeah.
I think he joined BBC. Was it in 2004?
He joined 2006, 2007.
Okay. By then you had worked with the BBC, and I want to believe
the United Nations.
You guys had some relationship.
He was like a brother. He was a brother.
Did you influence him in any way?
Iron sharpeneth iron. That's one of the things he and I expressed a lot. We were in touch a lot, and sometimes his favorite expression to me, when we discuss some things, would be, and David encouraged himself in the Lord. And we would exchange things. We were brothers, but it was when he passed away that I realized the level of brotherhood we had. I never took photos with Komla. It's like people can take pictures. If you have, I want to give you one example. Komla came to New York. When he came to New York, my editor and mentor at the BBC, Neil Kerry, also happened to be there. So I went and rented a car. I hadn't gotten a car in New York then. And I said, let me take all three of us, let's go, before he joined the BBC, let's go have a meal somewhere in the middle of New York. We went, finished the meal. We were coming to the car. I parked on a car meter. And somebody was sitting across the street. It was a warm summer day on a bench. This guy looked like an African-American black brother. He was reading some book. Then Komla's voice, big baritone, and then Neil and myself. And then Komla said, we were having, and then he's getting into the car, I'm getting the driver's side. The guy seated on the bench across the street in front of a coffee shop just jumped up. You are Joy. You are Joy. You are Joy. And then Neil and I, we were looking at each other. But Komla knew what this guy meant. In the middle of New York, the guy is screaming, you are Joy. And he left the bench and came and hugged Komla. And we were there thinking, what is the chance in the world? You are in the middle of New York, and this guy says, I used to listen. It's like somebody telling you, Alpha, I used to listen to you every morning in Kumasi. You are orange. You are orange. Yes. And it turns out this guy was studying on that bench around 5-6 p.m. before he would go for night duty as a car park attendant. He's studying to become a brocha brabo. Is that what you call it?
Yes, yes.
And he says, my wife and my children, my boy, they are in Kokomemle. When you go back, please play. So Komla took all his details. That is Komla. Komla, I did my best in the BBC. What Komla did was probably 5-10 times better and more. He even moved from radio to TV. I call him Ghana's greatest gift to the BBC. So he did well. Sadly, we don't have him now, but we treasure the memory. We learn from him. He's an inspiration to you. Somebody will see you here, Alpha, one day, and before I hear, you are somewhere outside using the skills you have perfected. He believes in when you are excellent locally, the globe will come looking for you.
Your last words before we
I am grateful to God. I thank you, Alpha, for having me and your team here. I am thankful to Kumasi because many of my relatives for many decades have lived here. I have nephews and nieces here who speak.
MC Larry is your nephew, eh?
MC Larry.
Yes. That's how we call him.
Don't MC him to his uncle.
Sorry.
I don't want to. What shall I say? Onya Bofra Bonnie.
No, he's not. Yes.
Okay, so he shouldn't be a Bofra Bonnie.
Yes.
Otherwise, Uncle Ben will hear.
Sure. It's very.
You have to pardon my treat. So I am grateful. I wish everybody listening that, by the grace of God, that we can all learn something. I'm still learning. If I make a mistake, they should forgive me. They should support you. So one day when you become a big star on a bigger stage,
Very soon.
God will bless all of us. I wish everybody well.
Great. It's been good having you. Thank you very much. And a lot of you have been sending your messages, how inspired you are by the stories that Mr. Ben Dochimalo has shared with us this morning. Let me just read this one. It says that Kwame Logic says, I'm inspired by his great words. You've inspired a lot of people. A lot of people are inspired. I just hope that you put it to work. You implement all the things that he spoke about so that one day, you never know, you also will be reaching those limits. Thank you very much, sir, for being our guest this morning. We'll take some messages, we'll return, and we'll continue with the show. Stay with us.
Are you tired of struggling with bad financial situations? At Quick Credit, we understand the difficulties that come with transitioning to a better one. That's why we're here to simplify the process for you. With loan facilities of 1,000 cedis and upwards, all you have to do is call and we will take care of the rest. All you need is your national ID. No savings, no collateral, no susu, no deposits, and no account opening required. Quick Credit has you covered. Whether you're expanding a business, starting a new one, facing an emergency like school fees or funeral expenses, or even just in need of a salary loan. Call Quick Credit today, 0302 200 390 or 059 692 0833. We do not give loans via the internet. Quick Credit is regulated and licensed by the Bank of Ghana. Terms and conditions apply. Quick Credit. Lending made simple.
We are all big football fans, but there are some other sports that I'm personally a fan of, like tennis and basketball. Luckily, Betway mobile and online sports betting has introduced sports, casino games, bet games, and more on their platform for us to bet on. From football to roulette to esports to horse racing. Now, we can bet, win, and get paid instantly via mobile money or EFT to your bank. Visit www.betway.com.gh to play today. Remember, bet responsibly, no under 18. Betway, for the love of the game. Regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana.
Doing gets you learning. Learning starts you wondering. Wondering triggers thinking. Thinking becomes planning. Planning evolves to trying. After trying, you're succeeding, winning, owning. Now, doing that starts with outdoing your limits. Outdo them all with MTN. So, what are we doing today?
Media Sambisanda mo. Eti emro tie no. Mumu hwan pa na tumi hwe na mo bodom pe mu ma na yakono. Eye kwabna. No mumu hwan so na tumi just mali me ma yene nyina de. Eye kojo. Enu kro. Corporate tumi hwe na bodom pe mu sense o yusu president eba. Ayede yan ban ne do braye. Po si echi na mo ban na sem ma na hoode ne. Sa. Ani na kudwo so yusu president chako. Na no ne de e ma wo se wo ye krejen fita. Na watimi asiri bedwo ma na feel you. Ey kojo. Yeah. Pepsodent Eba and a Pepsodent Charcoal. Afedie. You're gonna natural.
FTIJ Chadion Katoyatu.
So you're welcome back to the show. It's 10 minutes after 9. Let's talk about Kumasi City more. When you go out there to do your shopping, I'm asking you to make sure you get value for your money. You ensure the place is safe and all COVID-19 protocols. I mean, now protocols, okay. So that's why at Kumasi City Mall, we've brought to your doorstep the most popular brand. We are pulling out all the stops to make shopping convenient and enjoyable for you. At Kumasi City Mall, we treat you to things that will appeal to you. It's a much extravagant. It's the ultimate shopping experience in an environment that is so safe and secure, you feel right at home. So whether it's fashion, it's food, it's groceries or furniture or airline ticketing and nightlife and so much more, make sure you are coming to Kumasi City Mall. Kumasi City Mall. At Kumasi City Mall, we do not compromise on anything. We go all out for you. We believe that you deserve quality, you deserve authenticity, you deserve affordability, and you deserve comfort. So for your shopping needs, your outings, your leisure and relaxation, choose Kumasi City Mall. Osekrum, yes, KCM is certainly the pride of the city. Now let's talk about how you can boost your business. What you can do to your business for your business to grow. Black Ash is presenting something interesting to you. If you want to increase sales, if you want to drive more traffic, business is so unpopular, even your neighbors don't know you. Maybe yours is doing well, but you know you can do better. Here's why your business is lacking a certain vitamin. vitamin D for digital media. So get your business to go online with Black Ash services and make a difference today. This October, Black Ash is making it easy for you to get your business online at an affordable rate. Get an engaging Instagram and Facebook account, website, 2 television commercials, post promotions, Google business, graphics for your business, and so much more. Watch your business grow and connect with a global audience that won't hurt your pocket. This campaign is to help build brands and promote small to medium scale businesses online. Don't save for later. Call us now on 0549 136 0549 136 or 0322009605. You can visit www.blackashservices.com. My guests are seated this morning. Mr. Joshua Fuga is here and Mr. Boache is also here. Boachiansa, yes, is also here, and they are here to speak for their various political parties, the NDC and the MPP. Guys, good morning and welcome to the show.
Yeah, good morning, Alpha. How are you?
I believe, yes, I'm fine. I believe you're fine too.
I'm not doing that bad. Just that self-induced water spillage that has caused over 26,000 people in water region to be displaced. It's something that I have a lot of my family members being affected.
I see.
So we are encouraging, we are still sending them our support, and we are encouraging each and every one of us the little that we can do to support them. Yesterday's Excellency John Dramani Mahama called for a state of emergency, and I believe that President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo should put aside everything and then consider this suggestion from the former president. When you look at our Article 31, which states clearly the state of emergency, the importance of stating an emergency is for Ghanaians to appreciate the level of damage that this crisis have caused, because it's almost about 3 regions have been affected. Volta region, some part of Greater Accra, and then I think some part of Eastern region. So it's a great thing that we must all encourage every Ghanaian, those in Ashanti region, business communities in Ashanti region. If you can support, please, we are encouraging you to support. We have the Council of Ever Chiefs in Ashanti region. They are organizing the support for the people in the Volta region.
On that, to help the victims,
yes,
some
please.
civil society organizations have recommended that we should send the displaced to the Saglemi housing project.
Yes, I agree totally with them. I agree totally with them. As a party, I'm a member of the Inter-Party Stroke Civil Society Organization. It's something that we discussed, and we believe that looking at the location of the Saglemi housing project, it is about 2 hours from
the affected
areas. So I believe that it can really be considered, because if you look at the areas that have been assigned for people to go and sleep, these are classroom blocks. There are no mattresses. Even some of them, there are leakages in the roofing sheets and all that. So I believe that the civil society organizations that are recommending that these people should be immediately or temporarily relocated to the Saglemi housing project is a wonderful idea, and I believe that the president should be humble enough. He should know that this is a national crisis. This is not about people in the Volta region. This is about Ghanaians' lives. So we believe that he should consider these things, and we can only do this thing under a state of emergency, where Parliament.
But do you think that will make any impact, though?
Yes, because when you announce the state of emergency, Parliament, the president is now compelled to go to Parliament to brief Parliament about the situational report. And the moment you do that, you have every sector of government coming into play and then supporting these affected victims. So it is very important for us to declare a state of emergency.
Okay.
All said and done, I want to also greet my uncle who just left your platform, Uncle Doche Malo. I have been inspired. I have been inspired. And I think as a young man listening to him being very religious, being very spiritual, I think that it is for us all to learn from him. It's very important. And I was happy the kind of testimony he gave about the former president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, that this is a man that does not even encourage tribal politics. Because if you look at John Dramani Mahama when he was a president, Alpha, you could clearly see the infrastructure development that this man, brought to the people of Ashanti region. You understand? And clearly, if you have somebody like Ben Dochimalo, a seasoned journalist, somebody who is a mentor to so many people, you can clearly say that such a person commending the former president as being somebody who is very deep, I think is something that we shouldn't take for granted. We thank him so much.
Let me take the initial comment of Mr. Bwachanza. Mr. Bwachanza, he has spoken about what is happening in the Volta region. Do you agree with those who say there should be a national emergency declared because of the impact of the spillage? And there are those who have advised that the people who are displaced as a result should be given shelter at the Saglemi housing project. Are these recommendations you subscribe to?
Thank you very much. Let me also take this opportunity to extend warm greetings to our cherished listeners. And let me add to whatever that he has said, except the fact that he is trying to say that the president is one word the other, arrogant.
I'm not too sure he has said
No,
that.
he said, please.
He said he should be humbled enough.
No, you are
So the opposite side, if you say that he should be humble
It means
enough,
he's arrogant.
Yes, that is exactly.
That's your
that is
interpretation
interpretation.
Okay.
So I believe
That
it's,
is your interpretation.
it's
It
wrong.
is, it is.
That's not what I meant.
It's wrong even in the first place to tilt towards that angle when you are appealing to people to come and support by calling the president in unnecessary names that.
No, I'm not too sure he has done that.
But have I called the president?
Why do you have to use the word he should humble himself?
But that's not.
You sit on air and you are
so if
saying
you say
that
someone should be humble,
please,
I'm not too sure
that,
that.
please.
To
The fact is that you don't even have to declare that we are in a state of emergency as a country. You are already in it. The president has been there, the former president has been there, the vice president has been there, NADMO is there, they are working, they are providing food, they are providing mattresses, they are providing all sorts of items to support them. So do you coming out to declare that we are in a state of emergency does not add anything
But
to
when
it?
you
It's just a
listen to him,
statement.
it will give a lot more attention to the problem.
So are we saying we are not giving them attention?
No, enhanced, improved.
Well, that is good. But what I'm also saying is that as it stands now, today, the kind of support by the government that is being delivered to the people.
No,
I have pictures, please. What is this?
Let him make his point. Please let him
What
make
is
his
this?
My people are
When
perfect.
people
I will
come
not
here,
let him
when
sit
people
here
come here and they're
and
making their
then do a
submissions,
normal propaganda.
I'm not
telling you to wait and
relax.
Let's say all sorts of things.
point. So, guys, Mr. Buga, Mr. Buga.
No,
we are all-
coming. I am saying that let us give a clear report of what is happening on the ground.
No, but
You see, when you say that there's so much enough support, just this morning, your sister station TV3 were there. They were in the river, and even common mattresses. You don't use these things to judge some of these things.
This
You
is
don't
the
do that.
evidence.
Yes,
This is
No,
the
what is the
evidence.
evidence about
Look
this?
at
You don't do this.
the quantum of
You see,
items.
I am passionate about some of
Mattresses.
these things
When
because
you do this,
wait.
when you
Food
do this,
stuffs.
You do this
when you
thing.
do some of this,
Relief
let's-
items.
No, wait.
let's-
Oh, when you do something.
Okay, so I'm compelled to force to off your mics because the thing is that it's not benefiting everybody when we do this kind of conversation because nobody will be able to follow what we are saying. So let's do it one after the other, please.
Because this is a serious issue.
Yes, Mr. Ansar,
But
talk to me.
if you are going to tell somebody to stop what is going on, it's you because you had your time to
Make your
talk.
point. Make your point.
My point is that the items, food stuffs, mattresses, okay, everything that the people need within this space of time, everything has been provided by NADMO through the government. Now I'm giving you the pictures.
But
the items,
the people themselves have been speaking. That I can play some of the voices. Some of them complain that they have not gotten some of the items.
But the items have been provided.
To some people, yes.
And to some. But you know, definitely there are some of these things, when you submit them, you cannot just be sharing it out. At least there are chiefs in these communities that when you submit them, you provide them and then they will receive it. And it's also their responsibility, assembly members and co, to make sure that it goes down to the people. And that's why I'm showing you that there is an evidence of things that has been delivered all over. And I'm showing them to you on my phone. Okay, these are things that have been sent to them.
Yes, so
when you sit here and you try to allude that nothing has been done,
no, I'm not
and
using
you know
what
I said. Oh, please.
So I think you guys are saying almost the same thing, but he said there are still some people who need some of these items and they have not gotten it.
Very good.
You also say yes, it has been distributed to some.
Yes.
So practically not everybody will get. So it means we are all on the same wavelength. I'm not sure we are speaking. We are saying different
definitely,
things.
but let me continue by saying that the NADMO is in charge, and they are working on behalf of the government to make sure that the people within those areas, at least the most important thing is that lives will not be lost. Again, he raised an issue about Saglemi. And
that the people need immediate shelter.
Very good. They will need immediate shelter very soon. But one thing that I believe is that in trying to relocate them to Saglemi, you also look at the state of Saglemi when they were living in office. And the state, the project is currently, because there's no light at the place, there's no water.
But the schools they are inhabiting,
if
they are even being bitten by mosquitoes here and there, the Saglemi will be much more better. If you look at the facilities,
if you would allow me to you see, we also have to in relocating them. At least you cannot say you are relocating them without some form of certain
make the place much more
amenities like water. There's no water at Saglemi. So when you take them there, it's going to be another problem. Locating them at a place where there's no light. Locating them at a place where there's no water.
But we can build temporary source of water
again,
for them.
How long are they going to be there?
Till the problem improves.
I believe that assistance now. Okay, there are issues about that.
Because
project.
where they are also likely at the risk of disease, contracting all kinds of diseases, because the place itself is not in good shape.
I perfectly understand and I agree to that. But let's also believe and also get the understanding of the state of that project. Okay, because a lot of issues, investigations, and other things are going on with regards to that project.
Okay.
So it will be good for us to relocate them there, but I'm also referring to some other amenities that will make their life very comfortable. Because looking at the surroundings of the Saglemi housing project, where would they go to get water? Okay, how are they going to even get lights to, certain gadgets that they have to operate them? That's one thing that I'm also raising, because the moment we relocate them, it's going to be another headache too. There's no light here, there's no water here. It's good for us to relocate them there. But the way, manner you are saying it, let's locate them to Saglemi as if everything is there.
Okay. Let's now deal with some other matters. Mr. Fuga, a couple of days ago, your party held a press conference to talk about Galamsey, because you guys were not happy with the Auditor General's report. In reacting to Professor Frimpong Boateng's report, the Auditor General described it as hollow, not backed by enough evidence. So there have been a lot of conversation. But first of all, even the GBA, the NDC, you two have had cause to criticize the GBA for not speaking on matters, national issues. Now the GBA is saying this. Let's listen. We'll come back and continue.
Galamsey are all around us. We cannot gloss over. For the cultivation of staple food and cash crops have been affected. There are studies that Galamsey is contributing to death amongst children. Despite the efforts and assurance of government to deal with the menace, there appears to be a general consensus that not much has been done to effectively and roundly deal with it. The GBA holds the view that a lot more can still be done to effectively deal with the menace. That poses a serious threat to our survival, especially in this period of climate change concerns. We call on government, political leadership, and key stakeholders to show more political will and integrity in decisively dealing with the Galamsey menace. This can be done if the real powers behind the Galamsey menace are identified and dealt with in accordance with law. Galamsey is a...
So that is the president of GBA, Mr. Yawa Champo, speaking about Galamsey. But Mr. Fuga, listen to the Deputy Attorney General. He said, some of these, you, the opposition, you are just making mere allegations. There are no evidence.
Yeah, we are ready to receive such evidence. The practice has been that anytime those small fishes are arrested and are undergoing prosecution or undergoing investigation, they do not reveal the very big people that we claim are behind them. And the name of every prosecution is evidence. Unless you get evidence to nail the big fishes, we can continue to say it. We can continue to comment about the presence of these big fishes somewhere, but we cannot get a result.
So that is the Deputy Attorney General. He said, yes, we are talking. Yes, allegations have been made. But where is the evidence? Let's get a response from Sami Jemfi before I come to you.
The Deputy Attorney General on the line knows him very well. They come from the same region, Bono region, my region. And he's on public record to have said that he issued that prospecting license on the 25th of October 2018. Now, on the 5th of December 2018, the Interministerial Committee Against Illegal Mining raided the site of this company. And when they went there, they saw that the company was not engaged in prospecting as allowed by their prospecting license, but that they were actually engaged in illegal mining. That is also a fact, because in that documentary that we showed, you see evidence of mining. During prospecting, you don't use excavators or payloaders. What is allowed during prospecting, the experts will tell you.
And so that's the communications officer of the NDC, who insists that we have a lot of evidence available, just that the Attorney General is not committed. Mr. Fuga, don't you think, going to court, you don't go on mere allegations. You need hardcore evidence. Don't you think your party is just engaged in, spreading allegations, and that you need to back it with concrete evidence for the Attorney General to work on it?
Yeah, Alpha, before I go on that, I still want to appeal to your listeners and every Ghanaian, and especially our comrades in Ashanti region and our patrons in Ashanti region, to extend whatever help that they can to the affected people in the Volta region, some part of Greater Accra, and then even East region. Because we cannot paint the picture as if everybody has been well catered for. When you go on the grounds, it is confirmed that people are in need of mattresses, people are in need of rice just for them to cook. Shelter is a problem, so we are encouraging everybody. We are also asking the president to be humble enough for you to accept the proposal from the former president, who has more experience more than he has in handling some of these things.
Experience.
In terms of experience,
President Hoover has served 7 years as president.
John
has served only 4 years.
If I say experience,
or 4.5.
If I say experience, he was there before.
He was at the presidency.
He was at the presidency before Nana Akufo-Addo. Yes, and vice president at the same time. So we are encouraging him to put aside everything, to put aside the votes that he wants. To put aside any political inclination, to accept some of these suggestions, especially relocating the affected victims temporarily from these areas to this settlement housing project. On the issue of the Galamsey press conference that we had, let me first of all commend the Communication Bureau of the National Democratic Congress for doing the yeoman's job. When we talk about evidence, what are evidences? We have pictorial evidences, we have video evidences, we have documentary evidences. And all these evidences were shown during our press conference on the illegal mining activities perpetuated by Nana Akufo-Addo and his appointees. We are calling on the Attorney General to resign because he sought to use his office to whitewash a criminal activities perpetrated by certain individuals appointed by the president. In fact, if you watch the...
Perpetrated by who?
Perpetrated by some appointees of the president. In fact,
as said by who? Professor Frimpong Boateng.
Yes, because if you look into the report of
he
Professor
didn't
Frimpong
provide
Boateng,
any evidence.
No,
he just made allegations.
You see, if you look at certain names that were mentioned during our press conference, we mentioned John Oforiatta, we mentioned Seth Mante. In fact, Seth Mante wrote how do you call it? A statement to the CID, to the CID department of the police, stating emphatically the amount of money that he paid to Ekwawusi, who is a member, paid money to Professor Kwam, who is a member of the Minerals Commission, the board of the Minerals Commission, whom Professor Boateng stated as using his office to perpetrate these heinous crimes. In fact, there was an interview that the former regional NADMO boss, in the name of Kwabena Senchie, granted on one of your sister TV stations, which is Sumpa TV, where he stated that he had even taken Professor Kwam to the office of the special prosecutor for using his company to acquire a license and mining in his company's name without his consent.
For using his and Trace's name.
His and Trace's company's name. Yes.
Okay.
Because once upon a time, he claimed that this Professor Kwam called him that if he wanted to engage in mining, legal mining, whatever we might call it, he should bring the name of his company. So according to Senche, he didn't know much about mining activity. So he called, I think, one of the constituency chairman called Chairman Akins, for Chairman Akins to take him through how it is. So after Chairman Akins took him through, he then sent his documents to Professor Kwam. For him to come and know that, not knowing that the company that he gave to Professor Kwam, the company has been issued a legal license and then given some acres of land to go and mine on. So these are evidences that we have provided. Alpha. So in the face of all these interviews that we granted, the interview that Kwabena Senchie granted on TV, in fact, confirming what Professor Frimpong Boateng has stated in his report, mentioning directly Professor Kwam's name. You understand? In fact, he mentioned about the Alaska mining. And then the Alaska mining had engaged, they were given license to reclaim a prospect and a reclamation. But when they went, they had degraded over 1,000 acres of land in the Apraman forest, where that forest was supposed to be preserved by the Forestry Commission. And unfortunately enough, the former Forestry Commission boss, what's his name, Sir John's name was again mentioned. You understand? So if the Attorney General want to whitewash all the work that Professor Frimpong Boateng had done, then we believe that he is trying to clear certain individuals that have done the wrong thing by trying to whitewash the crime that they have committed. So the essence of the press conference was first and foremost to provide empirical evidence, to provide video evidence, to provide pictorial evidences to confirm the work that Professor Frimpong Boateng had done. Very, very important, Alpha. And then also to call on the resignation of the Attorney General, because we cannot sit here for the Attorney General to be fighting almost everybody that seems to make sure that the right thing is being done. As we are speaking, the Attorney General is fighting the Office of the Special Prosecutor for trying to go after Cecilia Dapa. It cannot continue like that, because if you look at the Attorney General in the person of, what's his name,
Godfrey
Dame. He's one of the youngest Attorney General we've ever had. So we think that as youth, he should set the pace so that going forward, when you are giving the office of the Attorney General to somebody of his age, we believe that the people are going to do the will of Ghanaians. Because at the end of the day, whatever he saw to poo-poo the report of Professor Frimpong Boateng, today our press conference has actually revealed that there are empirical evidences. There are statements that have been written where names have been mentioned, bank account numbers have been quoted, monies have been deposited in those bank accounts, confirming that these were the activities that people were engaging in. And to end my submission on Akonta mining, it is in the law that any mining activity should be about at least 100 meters from any river banks. But in the video during our presentation, you could clearly see that the mining site for Akonta mining, which belongs to the regional chairman of the MPP, Chairman Untumi, was being mined very close to the river body. So all these things are evidence. Is it not true that your mining activities should be 100 meters away from a river band? Yes. Is it in the constitution? Yes. Are we seeing the video evidences? Yes. Did Dr. Frimpong Mwati state it in his report? Yes. So what evidence again does the Attorney General Office need?
Let me go to Mr. Boachiansa. Mr. Boachiansa, what do you make of this debate? The Attorney General has responded to the NDC, and the NDC is fighting back. They say evidence are available. The Attorney General is just not committed. And the Ghana Bar Association seem to agree with the NDC. They say, yes, the government should do enough in the fight against illegal mining.
Thank you very much once again. And I'm quite confused listening to my brother here. If you see the way manner he's mixing up the issues, it gives you doubt to know whether he understands what is such a
I don't like your line of presentation. When you are talking, you're always being at.
I'm not. Relax.
It's when you do that, you force me to respond to you. You have been given the opportunity to speak.
You make a comment.
No, when you spoke,
that the Attorney General.
I was coming in.
Relax.
Didn't say.
Let him make his point. Please make your point. What is your point?
The issue is that whenever he makes a submission, he either insults or discredits people. You are saying, wait, and listen. You sit here and you are saying that the Attorney General is the youngest ever that we've had, and he should create an example so that there will be more opportunities for the youth in that sector. But we listen to the Attorney General. We listen to the content of the statement.
What is your problem with that statement?
My problem is that he has not done anything wrong.
So you can say that
for you.
That is his opinion.
That is why I'm saying that to go that tangent is wrong. The fact that you belong to the NDC doesn't mean that you have to see anything negative.
Mr. Anza, I'm not too sure you will expect him to say what you want.
So he shouldn't also expect that I say what he wants.
No, but it is not good.
The issue is that
very bad.
It's fair to make
whatever he is fair to make, and I'm also fair to make my comment.
Attack me that I'm supposed to say
the
this.
point I'm making is that the Attorney General is saying that if Professor Frimpong Boateng has been able to provide a report, okay, where other stakeholders within the report have come out, a person like Kujo Ponkroma, where he alleged to debunk, and he agreed to the statement that they rebutted with, that there wasn't any meeting held by Kujo Ponkroma, okay, to psych the mind of some journalists to go and then destroy his image. He, Professor Frimpong Boateng. And he agreed that the statement by Kujo Ponkroma was indeed the truth. So when it tells you that the content of the entire report has issues, again, you are alleging that so and so are involved in Galamsey. And even when we go to the Western region, we have NDC members of parliament who are involved. And apart from the members of parliament, there are a lot of people within the NDC caucus who had a lot of sites when John Dramani Mahama was president. They were given concessions to do Galamsey, illegal mining. It's in the report. When the NDC rebutted, did they talk about this one? Is it not in the report? Why is it that they did not address it? Because if they believe that the report is true, then first and foremost, for them to be credible enough, they should address the one that concerns their party and then members of parliament or people who belong to their party. What we are saying is that the report captures some allegations, And if we are to probe or take the matter to the courts, then Professor Frimpong Boateng should help the Attorney General and then the CID to get the evidence. You cannot just come out and tell us that whatever that is in the report is an evidence. We went to do prospecting, and then as part of the prospecting, they were using excavators.
But the NDC,
this is a report.
The NDC argues that a media institution has done a documentary where it was captured and seen the destruction of forest by a mining company, which didn't have the right to do what they were doing. The question they're asking is that why didn't the Attorney General prompt the police to investigate, to verify whether indeed that happened, so that in your quest to investigate, you may come across evidence? Because there is some level of evidence, but you want to verify if indeed that evidence can be evidence that you can use in court.
Yeah,
so the NDC said that go ahead. I mean, the Attorney General, at least in the case of Cecilia Dapa, asked the police to carry further investigation. So why didn't the Attorney General do same when it came to the issue of illegal mining? And of course, the fact that a media house has done a documentary, you can look at the documentary, ask the police to probe further.
Well, you see, relatively to what you are trying to say, and the response I'm going to give is that Professor Frimpong Boateng specifically provided the report to the government. If Professor Frimpong Boateng believes that the content of his report and other documentary that has been going on or that has been showing around can serve as an evidence, then he
should be the one to.
Yeah.
How?
The
authority to do criminal prosecution in Ghana is within the purview of the Attorney General.
You were taxed.
So
okay.
Even if I have evidence
to do he was tasked to do the investigation. That is a clear fact. So the Attorney General,
he did it by himself, I think.
No. It was a number of institutions and ministries.
Are you referring to who?
Professor Frimpong Boateng's tax. It wasn't to him alone as an individual.
As the chairman of the ICIM or something?
Yes, for that,
that
committee.
He was the only one.
So at the end of the day, you submitted the report to the government. Okay, and if you are to probe, it's a report of allegations, because already sections of the report had been rebutted, which you had affirmed to that rebuttal. And I make reference to that of Kojo Opon Kroma. So it means that the entire content, the rest that you believe that they hold water or you have evidence to,
you should go to
help us. Okay, help us.
The government.
Yes, help the government with evidence so that we can prove it
further.
Because if we decide that we are going to prove it, if we decide that we are going to go to the courts, and then we go to the court and at the end of the day we lose the case, then one way or the other it diminishes.
Stay with me. I'm going to take the last batch of our messages. When we return, we'll wrap up on this, and then we'll talk about what the president is saying. That for those of you who describe people who go into public service as thieves, you should stop, because that's not the case. Some of them, they are not, including himself and some other people. Let's take these messages. When we return, we'll wrap up with that.
Media Sambisanda mo. Eti emrati no. Mumu hwan pa na tumi hwe na mo bodom pe mo ma na yakono. Eye kwabna. No mumu hwan so na tumi just mali me ma yene nyina de. Eye kojo. Enu kro. Kobre tumi hwe na bodom pe mo sense o yisu president eba. Aye den aban ne do braye. Po si echi na mo ho ban na sem ma na ho de ne. Sa ani na kudwo so yisu president chako. Na no ne de e ma o se wo ye krejen fita. Na watimi asiri bedwo ma na feel you. Ey kojo. Yeah. Pepsodent Eba and a Pepsodent Charcoal. Afedie, you're gonna natural.
FTIJ Chadi and Katuyatu.
Do you need a true friend? Then SIC Life is your choice for life. Enjoy 15% cashback payment on consistent premiums paid for the last 3 years without a claim, as well as a maximum cover of up to 50,000 Ghana cedis with the SIC Life Final Journey Plan Plus. The SIC Life Final Journey Plan Plus provides immediate cash out to meet the funeral expenses of beneficiaries and covers as many as 12 family members. You can now pay your premium for SIC Life Final Journey Plan Plus via mobile money. Just dial *170#, select 2, enter merchant number 307688 and follow the prompts. Call 0501-570-652 today to plan your future with SIC Life, your true friend for life. SIC Life, absolute peace of mind.
Media Sambisanda Moa. And the Amratiano, Mumu, Panet, Mufin, Namu, Podom, Pemman Yakono. Eh, Quapna. No, Mumu wants me to be just my member in that day. And the crew, corporate Mirin and Bodom Pimasanso is president Eba. I had a binding to Braye, Pussy in a mobile, some man out what in it. Sir, I now could you soon use President Chaco, Nenry dear, a mouse, and we are Jane, fit. No, what you ask you, my mother feel you. Hey, Kojo, sir. Yeah. President Eba and a President Chaco. I've idea. You're gonna natural.
FTIJ Trading Katuyatu.
So it's time for us to wrap up. Let me start off from Fuga. Fuga, I'm giving you 4 minutes to deal with this issue. I mean, the president is right to say that for those who have the mindset, perception, that people who go into public service are just going to steal, are thieves. That cannot be correct. And that the Christian society should take time to educate Ghanaians to refrain from that kind of mindset. You will agree because you are also seeking to serve as a public servant.
However, unfortunately, the time apportioned for us to discuss these 3 major topics is very, very inadequate, because the 3 topics that you have given us, we started with the Volta region flood, and then we came to the Galamsey issue.
I think the Volta region, you brought it
in. And now we are on this. I think the environmental issues that we are talking about are very, very important. Because we don't have anywhere to go apart from the environment that we operate in. So
you choose to wrap up with that?
Yes,
okay.
I'll choose to wrap up.
Because we have just 5 minutes.
I'll choose to wrap up with the level of degradation that is currently going on. Our very existence as human beings has everything to do with the trees that we plant. So if you look at the level of degradation that is currently ongoing, I read my MPhil in environmental resource management, and I appreciate some of these discussions. So anytime I hear about environmental degradation and people are trying to whitewash some of these activities, meanwhile you can see the results in our water bodies. Look, is it not true that Akonta mining, that belongs to the regional chairman of the MPP, is operating less than 100 meters from a river body? Are there no video evidences? Was it not part of Dr. Frimpong Boate's report? And the onus lies on the Attorney General to initiate any criminal prosecution in the court of law. It doesn't lie in the sector minister then, in the person of Dr. Frimpong Boate, to go to the court. And that is why the Attorney General had to initiate an investigation into the report that the sector minister then had taken his time to write. So we cannot come and sit here as usual and then put aside the work that the former sector minister had done and then say that there's nothing wrong. I am happy that he made mention of certain NDC people who were also mentioned in the report. It is an opportunity for the Attorney General to prosecute all of them. Okay. That is, if there's something wrong with what they are doing.
Okay.
Let us not mix legal money and illegal money. you can be given a license to operate within a particular area or a particular acres of land. But the moment you extend that acres of land that you have been given, for example, like what I've just stated, when you are given a license to reclaim, a license to prospect, and then you go in there and mine under the guise of prospectus license, it is criminal. Is it not true that these companies that their names were mentioned, the Alaska Mining, is it not true that they were given license to prospect in the Apramine Forest Reserve? Is it not true?
Because of time, let me allow.
So why is it that? So if there's evidences that they were given a license for them to prospect or reclaim, why is it that they are degrading the forest by engaging in massive, mining activities within the forest reserve?
Okay, Mr.
And my submission. There was this soldier man, WO1 Isaac Nyako, who was interviewed during our press conference. In fact, the military man bowed down his head in shame. In fact, I want to quote him. Let me just try and paraphrase what he said. He said, if you look at the level of destruction of the forest, he doesn't think Ghana will have a future.
Thank you. Ms. Ansan, let's say in 3 minutes.
Very simple. I think I want my brother to understand that in terms of legalities, if you have evidence, nobody will stop you from going to court. So if the NDC believes that they have some evidence in the Professor from Pomboaten's report, they should go ahead and go to court and deal with the matter. Again, I believe we should try and do away with some leveled hypocrisy. Okay? Chamamun to me is mining close to a river. So all the NDC gurus in the western region who are mining on the land, that one
according to the professor,
it's okay. According to the prophet, that one there is okay, and you don't see anything wrong with that. And when you are talking about protecting the land and water bodies, those NDC gurus mining on the land because it's not closer to the water body, that one is okay. We should stop some of this hypocrisy. Let's condemn all the acts, okay, that we believe will not help our lands and our natural resources. And going forward, let's understand that whatever we believe is right for our country, we must encourage it. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is saying that not everyone elected into a public office is a thief. If for nothing at all, you have a former president who there are evidence according to Manas Azuri's investigation that he took a Ford expedition to award a contract to a contractor.
Are you sure about that?
Oh, that's why I made mention.
Are you sure he gave the contract because of the Ford?
According to the investigation by Manasseh Azuri,
which has been
the contractor made mention that he had been applying for the contract, and he was advised that if he's able to provide something, give the president something, he'll be awarded the contract. And truly, when he provided the Ford expedition,
who bought the chief imam? Who bought the chief imam?
When he provided the
$120,000,
he was able to get the contract. Okay, issues about the Airbus.
I want to
where
find out.
The former special prosecutor Martin Amidu had made it clear that made it clear that if the government official one,
you don't even understand the statement the president made.
So we need to understand that
the Christian Council should.
There are evidences. Is he
in a way? I will agree with the president because. Look,
you not allow me to talk. So it's not everyone.
If you look at
there are people with evidence.
Okay. Our time is up, guys. Because nobody's allowed. Please, it was his time. But you see, the time is up. It's almost 57. So let's because you
it's quite unfortunate that
relax. Hopefully we'll come back and deal with all of those issues. Okay, it's time for us to go. It's 56 after 9. It's time. It's time. Let's wrap up. The show was produced by David. You heard from Rahim Awafu today, Abnecha. My guests were Mr. Boachansa. He is a member of the MPP communications team, and Mr. Joshua Fuga, who is a member of the NDC communications team in the Ashanti region. That's our show for now. Thank you very much for doing the listening. My name has been Alpha Ali. Have a very good morning.
What you looking at?
Alright, see us now. Yeah, alright.
Last two.
That's what's up.